Can you guys hear me now? Okay, now we're good. All right, so this is my first drink of the day after DerbyCon, where I nearly took the podium down with me and pulled my VGA. Yeah, you can see how good this is going to go. Can't say VGA. I decided I should, cut back on the drinking before talks, so here's my first drink, so hopefully this will all go all right. So I was asked to do something completely brand new for this, which, we con speakers, we so rarely do anything new. We just, do the same thing over and over forever and travel the world. So I'm going to do a little bit of talky slide nonsense, and then I'm just going to do a lot of demos. And I'm going to do something I've never really done before, which is try and demo on the actual devices. So I've got my little webcam up here, but my hands shake a lot, so I'll do the best I can. But I'm going to do some stuff that you can't really do on emulators. I'm going to do some stuff with SMS that an emulator can't really simulate, so we'll see how it goes. And hopefully it'll work, because if it doesn't, it's totally the cell tower's fault. Is that for my drink? All right, so this is called Bypassing Security Controls with Bring Your Own Device. Has anybody been to one of my talks before? A lot of you. All right, so we won't have to bore you with a lot of the basics. Basically, bring your own device is apparently this big deal right now, and it's going to make the whole world fall apart, and yet it doesn't seem to happen. The naysayers on Twitter like to say, well, if bring your own device was really that big a deal, wouldn't some sort of bring your own device thing have happened by now? Wouldn't someone have broken into someone's phone and stolen all their data or something? Which doesn't seem to actually happen. But then again, bring your own device isn't really all that new and awesome now, is it? Contractor laptop, my first job, I was a government contractor. They gave me some laptop. I installed a lot of nonsense on it, I guess it was Backtrack at the time, but lots of hack tools. I was just getting started in this, so, I installed a lot of things. I'm sure corporate didn't really appreciate it when I had to turn it back in. But I took it to the government. I think they ran some sort of Nessus scan on it. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of a Nessus scan. Nobody? All right. Me neither, It's apparently what they do to make sure things are secure. And they said my device was secure, and they let it on the network. Bad decision. Also, wireless access points. A lot of those game systems don't want to let you use WPA, right? And I'm the CEO, and I want to put my PlayStation Portable on the network. What am I going to do when the IT staff says, no, you may not have a wireless access point with no security? Well, I'm going to fire the IT staff. Fuck you. This is why I'm the CEO of my own company now, because I say fuck you a lot. Somebody brings in a wireless access point and just, plugs it into the network. We don't monitor devices on the network around here. We have better things to do, like play on Facebook. So that's bring your own device, too. And I think everybody's favorite is, let's bring a video game console and put it in the break room. But we want to play Xbox Live, so we're going to plug it into the network, right? Well, where did that game console come from? You think the company bought it? Bullshit. Somebody brought it from home. Could that possibly be infected with some sort of malware? No, never. It doesn't run Linux underneath or anything. Nah. So, why is everybody so upset about these mobile devices? Why is this a big deal? So I thought about this a lot, I drank a lot, and this is what I came up with. It has to be something about this mobile modem. That's the only thing I could come up with that was new. Mobile devices, why we don't like them, they attach to our corporate network, and then they also attach to somebody else's network that could be potentially monitoring everything. We can't monitor it if it's going out over the cell tower. The NSA can, but that was the last talk. So why bother hacking anything if we can just, ask the NSA for the information? I just want to, get in bed with them at this point and just get all your data, forget this hacking thing, just, sell it to someone. Not really. But this must be the issue. It must be this issue of the mobile modem. So hence, that's where I took my research. I'm going to play nasty jokes on lots of companies with the mobile modem. Or, well, in my case, just my other phone. So, question is, of course, can you actually exploit a mobile device? Aren't these Android things that are really out of date and will just let you install anything? They're really secure, right? Totally. I like them. iPhone, that's supposed to be really secure too, right? Nobody ever exploited an iPhone before, right? Nobody ever, went out to some website like jailbreakme.com let someone whose name is like Post6Ninja run code on their phone or anything. Nobody here ever did that, right? Nobody? All right. I guess I'm the only one who ever let some random person on the internet run root code on my phone. But I did. So, are they secure? Probably not. Here's all the ways we can get onto the phone. Well, not all of them, but the ones that I put in my old slides that I copied from this morning. So, my favorite, apps. I love apps. Anybody here love apps? Yes. Apps, if there's not an app for it, it doesn't really exist anymore. You have to have your own app. Seriously, if you're a pizza place and you don't have an app, it's over for you. You have to have an app. And where did you hire those developers to build it? It's probably, some employees like Kid who's really good with code, right? They went to secure coding school, right? No, you do have to have a secure coding degree to write for one of the app stores, right? Totally. Yeah, you totally have to know how to secure your apps to write them and put them in the store. Okay, apparently not. And then, of course, there's nice client-side attacks. We've got mobile browsers. Well, they don't run Java, so in the event of a Java O-Day, the only safe way to browse the internet is, in fact, with a mobile device. Well, or without Java, but we like Java. Or I like Java. It breaks a lot. I recently discovered something that I have been doing it all wrong about this e-reading thing. I was really against this e-reader thing. I like, the old smell of a book, and I like to be able to read on the plane as we're taking off and whatnot. So I was like, I will never go down this e-reader path. And then somebody bought me a Nook, and now all I do is read on the mobile devices. And I was buying all these books. But then I realized, you can pretty much Google anything and free PDF, and you can get a free PDF of the book. Some of the characters are really weird, and they obviously mixed up some words, but you can download it and open it up in your Nook app, and everything's awesome. I think that's where I need to be putting my exploits, honestly. Free PDF of my new upcoming book from my website, and it will hit all your mobile devices. Anything that we can make it open. Oh, someone calling me. And then, of course, there's always, the jailbreaking. I mean, why bother to exploit anyone if we can just go out there and register some domain that's about jailbreaking? Say we have an iPhone jailbreak, and then everybody downloads it and runs it. So, the easiest exploitation ever. Millions and millions of people who know nothing about mobile security just go out and say, I want to jailbreak my phone today. It happens. Social engineering. See, until today, when I watched your contest, Chris, I didn't believe that anybody would actually answer any of those questions on the phone. I mean, really, who just lets somebody call them up out of some random social engineering contest and answers all these computer security questions? Apparently, every company in the world. See, I used to say that social engineers were just people who couldn't do real code, and thus, they wanted to speak at security conferences, and they had to talk about social engineering. But then I started actually trying to do it, and I realized, wow, this really does work. I've actually done an engagement before where I sent them an email that says, this is a phishing attack. Please do not click this link. I still got like a 40% success rate. I mean, do they not even read? Seriously, the real challenge should be, can you do a social engineering attack where no one clicks on it? That will be the real challenge. That should be your new contest. Try to fail. Yes, try to fail at social engineering. But let's pretend, perfect world, right? Nobody's ever going to click on links in emails. Nobody's going to answer your cold call things. They're not going to tell you everything about their company to someone they just met on the phone who changes their name 2 or 3 times in the course of the conversation. No, that really happened. I am not making this shit up. So let's pretend none of that really happens. What if they get a text message that it says, you've won $1,000 from Best Buy? Will they click on it? Will they log into the Best Buy looking site that they just clicked on? Well, I have to admit something. I was hungover. I woke up with like my phone right here, and I see the message, and I'm like, oh, money, I can buy new phones. Everybody's telling me they want me to port my stuff to iPhone and Windows 8 and all this stuff. And it's like, oh, Best Buy's going to give me the money. I clicked on it. I did. It happens. And the thing about text message, though, it's like people should just stop phishing over email. Because if you want a good time, go to the spam filter of even your free email account. Funny stuff these people write to you. I think if I can just find the one Nigerian prince who really does want to give me $1 million, I mean, I can just retire and forget you people, your silly conferences. But, that hasn't worked out for me thus far. I've just, lost money in these schemes, but this happens. All right, so we all know it. Mobile devices are vulnerable, but then if you really start to think about it, so are Windows systems, Linux systems, Cisco routers. I mean, Cisco is the password on how many internet-facing devices right now? So I guess security is dead and we should all go home, but I still have to have something to talk about so people will let me travel the world. So here's the nonsense I came up with for post-exploitation for phones. So I get on your device, right? And your device walks into the corporate network one day, it VPNs in, or somebody actually goes to work. Does anybody actually still go to work anymore? Anybody? Few people? Okay. It seems like most people work from home now, and it's like personal hygiene has gone out the window. That's really the future. Nobody's ever going to go to work anymore. But let's say somebody actually goes to work, phone attaches to the corporate network in some way. Technically, it should be segmented. You really should have your mobile devices segmented from everywhere else. Does anybody's corporation actually do that? Okay, I guess I gotta ask the first question. Who here allows some sort of bring your own device policy in their network? A few more hands than the segmentation question at the very least. The rest of you just aren't admitting it. Everybody does bring your own device these days. CEO wants to get on the network with their iPad. It's gonna happen.
Hey, it's cheaper than buying everybody else a computer, right?
Exactly. It's much cheaper than actually providing secure devices. If you can find a secure device, please let me know. I've never found one. Yes, a brick is perhaps a secure device. All right, so what I think would be cool is why don't I just go from the phone and start attacking other things? Because, a lot of people like to focus on getting corporate email off the phone. There was some research that they broke the good container open and stole it out of memory, all of your secure corporate-y things, but only so much information is going to be on the phone itself. Yes, of course, we can root the phone probably and get access to whatever information is stored or transmitted on it. But what I really want is the other devices in the network. Anybody here do any pen testing? No pen testers in the room, couple pen testers. External pen test, right? Sometimes you see some really nasty stuff, but a lot of times you see, there's a couple ports open, their website's hosted somewhere else, so it's out of scope, blah, blah, blah. Go internal. I have a perfect record on internal. I get domain admin every time, so does everybody else. Because let's face it, you go to my home network, where I guess technically my company is, you're going to see some really old, unsecure stuff. Because I teach intro exploit development, and I forget about the stuff I install. So, you will see a lot of old, out-of-date shit. You also will see an open wireless access point, because to this day, I have not figured out how to make the damn printer attach to the wireless when there's security. So what did I do? The chief security officer of my company, I said, well, we just won't have wireless security in our home. We live far enough away from other people. This is not a problem. Security is dead. Let's just forget it. Let's all go to the bar and drink. Well, I like to solve problems that don't exist. Once I get on one of these devices, I can, of course, just have it, call out to the internet where my EC2 instance or whatever is listening, and everything will be fine. I will have shells, and I will have proved that bring your own device actually matters. My life's work is not for nothing. This will make me happy. But I was on this one pen test this one time, and again, I like to solve problems that don't exist, so this happened once. We just couldn't call out. They actually had a proxy that worked. The only way you could get out was if you were in the Internet Explorer process, and of course it was fully updated, so, we could, try and pivot into it and whatnot, but it was trouble, and I didn't like it, and of course, we just dropped a pwn plug and had it throw it out. But you won't necessarily be able to drop a pwn plug. You may, however, be able to have somebody's exploited device walk into the network. So what did I decide to do to fix the problem that doesn't exist? Well, why don't I just have it, instead of calling back out to the internet, I'll have it call back to the phone. Phone can do TCP IP. It can open up a listening socket. This isn't hard. All you have to have is internet. Phones have internet. And then instead of throwing that out to the internet via, TCP/IP, HTTP, HTTPS, whatever other acronym you want, I like text messages, so I just send it out over text message. Hit the cell towers, throw it back to me. Good luck tracking that. Didn't see that happen, right? Where did that shell go? Didn't go through all of your expensive boxes you're paying all this money for intrusion detection. Well, so we're going to see a demo of this actually happening live, the first time ever shown live at a conference ever. This is where you make noise. I'm actually going to try and do it, and if it breaks, again, it's the cell tower's fault, but I did say bypassing security controls, right? So somebody wrote me, anybody ever played with my Smartphone Pentest Framework at all? A few people? Well, we're going to watch it demo today, but basically DARPA gave me money to write a testing framework for mobile devices, and somebody wrote me one day and said, oh, I have mobile antivirus, and it's catching your SPF agent, that gets dropped on the phone. It looks like a real app. As we'll see, it actually is a real app, just with some extra functionality. And they said mobile antivirus is catching it. And I'm like, oh, research idea, bypassing mobile antivirus. As I found out, it was more of, how hard do I have to try to get caught by mobile antivirus? So I have one slide of my entire research, because that's how much research it really was. Basically, I had all of the exploits that it could run to get root on the device already sitting there in the original app. So naturally, you know how signature-based antivirus works. I mean, if the file is called Rage Against the Cage, chances are it's going to pick up what it is. But oddly enough, due to security on the mobile device, well, this is all particularly to Android, but I do have other devices now, so that's going to change very soon. But actually, the only application, the only process, aside from root, of course, who can see anything from the files of an application after install is the application itself. The files directory is only readable to that application. All you have to do is wait until after install and then pull it down, and then nothing sees it. I downloaded every antivirus I could find, and it saw nothing. You can download any nasty root you want. I don't care how obvious it is. It will let you do it. Anybody hear about that master key vulnerability thing that didn't have anything to do with master keys at all, about Android at Black Hat? You guys don't go to Black Hat? What the hell?
Too expensive, bro.
Yeah, I wouldn't go if they didn't pay me to go either, honestly. But it does actually catch the antivirus can catch the master key vulnerability. There's really no way to hide the fact that you have 2 of classes.dext or 2 of Android manifest.xml, so it will catch that. But anything like rooting, you just download it later, and then you run it, and it can't see it, it can't scan it, and I haven't seen anything of all of the antiviruses that I downloaded, and again, it was like everyone I could find. I didn't find anything that I could see actually was doing heuristics, like stuff calling out to the internet or sending out SMSs or anything like that, except for the bouncer actually in Google Play. That will do a little bit of heuristics, but it only runs it for 15 minutes, so you just wait 20 minutes, or, well, you wait until minute 16 and then have it call out. So things like my SMS botnet, checking in like every 30 seconds over HTTP, all of that, none of the antivirus seemed to think there was any problem with that. So mobile antivirus, oh, it doesn't work. Just forget about it. But does Windows antivirus really work that well either? I mean, it catches Metasploit, but then you can just mess with it and make it not, so I guess antivirus, it just sucks in general. I don't know. I'm going to go be an antivirus vendor. Make a lot of money for doing nothing.
I mean, you try to create something that has to deal with polymorphic code. It's not easy.
No, I can't imagine it is, but they shouldn't say that they can. And actually, a lot of the MDM solutions like to say that they can detect rooting. So I was like, okay, let's see if they can detect rooting. I mean, let's not even talk about the like polymorphic code running thing like you said. Let's just focus on, can they tell the root shell is on the file system? Well, most of what I looked at, and these are MDM solutions that go for a lot of money, they're really just looking on Android for the binary bin SU. Droid Dream from like 2010, 2011, named it bin profile. I actually ran Droid Dream on some MDM included devices, and it didn't see that it rooted it.
What is MDM?
Mobile device management. It's like one of those buzzword things. Sorry, I guess I should have written that out. They told me when I used to work for a company that I shouldn't put acronyms in my titles. Maybe that's why they fired me. It couldn't have been, because I went out there and talked about like nasty things happening on phones or anything. Never. So what you can just do is put it in an executable only directory, or again, just put it in the directory of the application, and then nothing can see it. So you can just put your root shell somewhere where whatever mobile device management solution can't actually see it, so they can never detect that root was there. So, forget about the ones that say, yeah, we can actually see root code happening, but yeah, polymorphic code and all that. So MDM is dead. Good luck finding it. MDM has its uses. I had to do this call with this customer and talk about MDM, so I read a lot of white papers about it, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. But, it can't solve all the problems. And I think that's more of a problem than a solution, saying, if you put this on your phone, nothing bad will ever happen to it ever. That's a bad situation to be in, I think, as the user, to believe you're secure. We should tell everyone they're insecure and then go home. So that's all I want to say about nonsense. I want a demo for forever. So we all need to say a little prayer to the demo gods that nothing will go wrong. Come here. Dude, he has been heckling me the whole time. He deserved that. All right, so I just want to do some demos. The main point of what I'm getting at is I just want to do demos. There's lots of talks I've given about the nitty-gritty details of mobile device security or whatever. But I want to show my big important demos, so that's what I'm going to do. All right, so we have virtual machines. So what I'm actually going to do here is run my Smartphone Pentest Framework. I should probably make that a little bigger, no? So this is my Smartphone Pentest Framework. It is not included by default in Kali Linux. It was included in Backtrack 5 R3. I don't know why they won't put it back in. I guess I'm just not cool enough for that club. But it used to be written in Perl. Anybody here like Perl? Now it's written in Python. Everybody's much happier. But you know what? Okay, I'm going to ask you another question. Anybody here ever written an open source tool? How many contributions did you get? Really, I subscribe to the school of Dave Kennedy and, him and his million of people who help him write set. And I'm like, yeah, I'll write this Smartphone Pentest Framework and everybody's going to help me and it's going to be a big deal. It's going to be the next Metasploit. I'm going to make a lot of money. And then people are like, oh, we don't like to write Perl code. So I'm like, fine, I'll port it to Python. No small task, since I don't document anything. Couldn't really tell what I was doing. I like to code drunk, what can I say? So I ported it all to Python, and one person has submitted something. You know what that was? Deleting the old Perl files out of it. That has been my one contribution. So if anybody likes to write Python code and wants to deal with mobile devices, please help me write this, because I think it's awesome, and I'm apparently the only one. All right, so what we're going to do, it can do a lot of things. So again, you can watch my videos to watch it attack phones. But what we're going to do right now is I'm going to hook it up to a mobile modem. So I'm going to have my mobile device that's Pentester owned be the mobile modem. So I can also plug a USB into the side and have it put a SIM card in it and have it use that. But everybody's got a phone. Not everybody has a USB modem. So I'm going to use this guy. And what it's going to do is it's going to send an app to this guy and infect it. It's actually going to be the ABC News app. So I've already got ABC News on here, and I'm going to use the master key vulnerability to replace it. So the phone is going to think that it's a legitimate update to the official ABC News app. I'm actually going to try and do it over near-field communication. So I'm going to go like this, and the magic is going to happen. So, you can do it to somebody's back pocket at Starbucks. And so then it's going to be the ABC News app 2.0. It still does ABC News, but it does other things. And what I'm going to do from there is actually attack another device on the network. So I've got, my Windows XP from class, and anybody remember WarFTP? This is the first app that I use for exploit development, and, I had to write the code in C, and I hate C, because unfortunately phones don't have native interpreters for things like Python. So I had to actually write the exploit code to be run on the mobile device in C. So this was just about as good as I could do in C. I mean, forget me trying to do data execution prevention bypass in C. It's just not going to happen. So war FTP it is. But this is just proof of concept, right? So you could see how you could do this for anything. So we're going to drop the binary onto here, have it run on the mobile device as just compiled C code, attack this guy. It's going to open up a listener on this device, so it's just going to open up a port listening. This guy, when it gets exploited, is going to send the shell back to the mobile device. This mobile device is going to send it via hidden SMS to this one, which is going to send it back to my SPF server, completely bypassing any security controls you have. You might understand why I have not demoed this live yet. Doesn't that sound like there's just too many points of failure to do it on stage? But they asked for something new, so heaven forbid I do new research.
If it works, it'll be awesome.
Yes, if it works, it'll be awesome. If not, you all get to buy me drinks.
If it doesn't, it'll be an awesome concept.
Yes. There is a video online of it working, but let's see if we can do it. All right. So, first things first, I want to attach my mobile modem. So I want number 4, attach framework to a mobile modem. You can tell the way the numbers go that I basically just did it as I added functionality, because clearing the database being right in the middle makes 0 sense. So let's just clear the database. And now I want to do number 4, attach a mobile modem. So I can generate the mobile modem on the fly. It hooks up to the Android SDK, so you don't have to do any eclipsing or anything to do this. It'll just build it all itself. I already have it on here, so I guess we can test the camera. Where's FaceTime? Which is not how you should do cameras in talks. So here's my mobile device, and I apologize for my very bitten nails. I get stressed out a lot. So I have this framework Android app, and again, this is the pen tester controlled device, and I don't do user interface design, so I'm sorry that it's so ugly. But all I'm going to do is hook this app up to SPF. So I guess I should do it on the server side first. So I want to attach to a smartphone-based app, number 2, phone number of the device. So these are actually my real numbers, so feel free to spam me with all of your social engineering nonsense. I will definitely click on it. So I just give it a little bit of information. Where are we right now? SkydogCON. And then I'm going to fill in the information on the device, which you saw it had IP address to talk to, which I don't know what its IP is, but I filled it in. So I'm just going to do a quick IP config. 103. Okay. 192.168.20.103. And then I'm going to put in that same path that I put here. So they're going to basically just TCP handshake with each other here. SkydogCON. And I give it a little control key. You can always tell that I'm in your network if you see the value key1 running around, because that's always the key that I use. All right, so I just said attach, and sure enough, they just attached to each other. Well, this one didn't. Okay, we're not going to get very far if that doesn't work. Sacrifice Adobe. All right, let me restart it. Hang on. This is why I wanted to have lots of time to demo, in case something breaks. All right, so let's restart it. And so that's going to be running in the background, so let's kill it. I don't know why it decided it wanted to work on one side but not the other. That's never a bug I've ever seen. And kill -9, 19181. But I just said it was. Oh, it's 183. Can I not type? Oh, that's the grep. Never mind. I'm killing grep after it already ran. Whatever. Okay, so let's try again. Okay, that's really frightening. This is going to probably be the worst talk of my entire life. It's not going well. And I just wanted to impress you people. I'll just call it Sky. All right, so let's try this. path is sky, and the key is key1. There we go. All right, now it magically attached, and you can actually run attacks from the mobile device, like, so you can click on any of these and actually run attacks. Oh, you can see me in the background. But, okay, so now what I want to do is actually generate an agent. So I'm going to go to number 1, attach framework to a deployed agent or create agent. So I'm going to do backdoor and Android APK. So we can also backdoor any code you have, but if you just have a compiled app, so anything from the App Store, anything your client made, any APK, it will automatically backdoor it for you. So it pulls it apart, backdoors it, puts it back together, signs it. So we can even use the master key vulnerability. So let's do number 5. And it wants the app I want to backdoor. So I was on ABC News one day, and so I just used their app. They were not particularly impressed. Well, they were impressed. They just wanted to sue me, I think. So I have their app. And so it pulls it apart and backdoors it. And it asks me for some information about the controller when it gets there. So it wants the phone number that can control it. So only one number will it respond to. So that's 383-1619, and again, I always use key1 as the key, which is dumb. And I always use Android Agent 1 in my demos is where it's going to check in, so it can communicate via HTTP or SMS or both. And so now it's just going to rebuild the app. So it's going to look and feel exactly like ABC News, and using the Android master key vulnerability, if the device is vulnerable, it can even replace an app that's already on there. So it asks me, do I want to use the master key vul, and I'll say yes. So it takes all of the old app, and including the signatures, and puts it back into the app. So then I can send it off. So I'm going to do number 6, and I'm going to tell it to download the agent. So what easier way to get something on a device than just ask someone to install it? And they also, the Metasploit team just created Android Meterpreter a couple months ago. My stuff is cooler, but it probably won't stay that way because they have a lot more people working on their stuff. But I also hooked it up so you can send Android Meterpreter as well. But we want the agent. It's an Android. Put it somewhere on the web server, SkydogCON, which is wrong, but you know, app.apk. And it can deliver via SMS or near-field communication. So let's try and do near-field communication, something else I have never done live. So here on this guy, my Pentester controlled phone. I guess it helps if I put this to the front. It says sending NFC. So if I attach it, so if I basically beat these guys together. No, you don't want to send. There we go. Touch to beam. And then this guy downloads it. It doesn't automatically install it, but it automatically downloads it. So then I just download it, and I'm just going to tell it to install it. And it says, would I like to replace the application that's already there? Would I like to replace ABC News? So I say yes, install it. Application installed successfully. So it replaced the application that was already on there. It saw it as a legitimate update. So ABC News is going to close because it doesn't have network, so it can't actually pull. But even after it closes, oh, Facebook, sorry. But even after it closes, it's still listening in the background for SMS and pulling for HTTP. So even after they close the app, it'll still work. All right, so now I actually want to attach to it. So I want to attach to a deployed agent. Android Agent 1 was its path, and key1. And this takes about a minute to finish because you don't know when they're going to click on it, so it takes a while to pull in. So it does wait for a minute. And so that leaves me with time to drink, I suppose, and sweat. The lights are, it's not because I'm nervous or anything. It's not because, like, the most basic demo ever kind of, like, acted strangely or anything. All right, so a minute is a really long time when you're up on a stage. Send me the noob. I want to sacrifice him.
You really want me to come up?
No, not really. Yeah, the only thing that's really dangerous is my shoes. Everything else kind of bends, but my shoes you want to be careful of. They don't bend. Wow, a minute really is a long time.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
How did your SPF server communicate with the phone to begin with?
So how does the SPF server communicate with the pen tester control device? It does, this guy pulls back over to the web server. It's really primitive. It just calls back and asks for instructions. So basically, I've made your device part of a botnet. Whatever. You know, the people...
I'm talking about the phone that you're using for the modem.
Yeah. Yeah, it just pulls over, it connects to the web server, yeah. Like SPF writes instructions to the web server, this guy goes and pulls them.
And that's because you installed
Right.
the agent app on it to pull that specific.
Yeah.
And when you configured that agent app, you were able to do that after you installed the agent app, not hard-coded in the agent app itself.
Right, so this is going to be controlled by the pen tester, so they can hook it up to any SPF server they want. The agent that's on the victim device, however, you do have to hard code that ahead of time because you'll never be able to control it again. All right, so it should have checked in now. So if I go to number 2, sure enough it did. Oh my God, good things happened. It checked in. All right, so now I actually want to make it do stuff. So these are all the things currently you can make the SPF app do on the victim device. My goal is, well, I want to become a vendor and build a pro product. So I basically want to take advantage of every API on Android, iPhone, Windows 8, and BlackBerry. So this is going to get much, much bigger very, very quickly now that my book is almost done and I actually have time to work on it again. But we can do a few different things. So we could like do run in map, and so we could in map that guy. So again, it will run in map from the exploited phone. So anything that's local, it could then in map. So if it's on the same network with another device, far, far away from me, the pen tester, and then it'll just upload the results to me. But I'm too nervous to do that because I just want to get straight to the good stuff. So in case it fails, we can try again. So what I want to do first is actually build an exploit. So again, I just have exploit code for WarFTP written in C, which I like to write things in Python. So if you actually looked at the C code that I used, it's really terrible. But I just have like Metasploit's MSF Venom shellcode in it to call back to the phone's IP address. And then it's like, well, if I just compile it with GCC, it's not going to run on the phone. I have to do some sort of cross-compiling goodness, which took me a long time to set up. So I included it in SPF to make it much easier for you. So all you have to do is say compile C code for ARM Android devices. What file would I like to compile? My WarFTP reverse shell. Reverse shell is actually really kind of hard to type. And what do I want to call it? How about WarFTP reverse shell? Did I spell that right? Reverse, yes. Okay. Perverse shell, yes. So it throws some warnings because I'm a bad coder, but it did actually compile. So now I just want to drop that compiled code onto the mobile device. So I'm just going to drop it onto here. And so I'm just going to host it on the web server, and then this guy will call out and download it, and it'll put it again in its own files directory so nobody can see it. No antivirus apps, mobile device management apps, or anything. It'll be completely hidden from everyone except root and the application itself. But the application has the rights to run stuff from its directory, so we can just make it executable and then run it. That seems like a great idea, right? Let's just let any app download whatever the hell it wants and run it. Yeah. So number 6, download. File to download, root desktop, WarFTP, reverse shell, or perverse shell, rather. And where do I want to put it? SkydogCON conference. Just want to make them different just in case. And let's call it WarFTP reverse shell, because why change things so I'll make mistakes? How do we want to send it? Either SMS or HTTP. I'm going to do the SMS shell, so let's do HTTP to make it easier. You can see why sending an entire file over SMS is rather ridiculous that I even bothered to implement it. But then it will, next time this guy checks in, and by default it checks in every 30 seconds. I thought that would run down the battery, but I really haven't noticed that it does, but you can change that value. but then it'll download it. So the next thing I want to do before I actually run it is open up a listener. So I'm just going to tell the phone to open up a listener to catch the incoming shell. So I want to say 10 TCP listener.
What's the char set on SMS? Do you have to like base 32 it instead of base 64 it to transmit over SMS? Like how are you encoding the program to send it?
It's just sending the text. It's sending the raw bytes.
Sending the raw text and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
compiling it on the device.
So then I want to say delivery method. Again, we'll just do HTTP to send it. And I tell it I want it to call back to me via SMS, so it is going to be completely out of band. And what port do I want it to be? I just used MSF Venom with the default port, so that's 4444 for Metasploit. And that'll tell it to open up that listener. So I'll give it about a minute, or well, I guess about 30 seconds, to let it open up that listener. I kind of want to cheat. You guys wouldn't be mad at me if I did, would you? I kind of want to cheat and watch it. Where's my USB thing? Right here. Because I have it logging, so I could actually watch it in Logcat, so I can make sure everything's working so we don't have any problems. Connect to your Mac. And that's from earlier. Connect to your Mac. My phones all hate me because I make them suffer. ADB Logcat. SMS, there it is. So it said SMS check. So the process is 7433. Don't worry if you can't see this because it's not important. It's just me cheating. Okay, so the listener is running. It did download, so everything's good. So I was just checking just in case. So now I want to execute the command. So I want to make it run that WarFTP exploit. So I need to know what this guy's IP address is, which is, of course, if I run nmap, I would know. So 192.168.20.107. So just how I coded it, it asked for the IP address. So WarFTP reverse shell is what I want to run, and just how I coded it, it wants the IP address and port to attack, so 107 port 21, and then it will ask me if this was downloaded, because if it's downloaded, it needs to run it out of that directory. Otherwise, it'll just run a system binary. Anything the app has the rights to run, it can run. And I'll just say delivery method HTTP. So now it's going to tell it it wants it to run that command, which I can watch it in. So you can see it checking for SMSs in the logs. And when it blows up, oh shit, WarFTP's offline. There we go. Hopefully, I may have waited too long and need to do it again. Actually, having the vulnerable app online helps. Just a thought. See, I told you if it broke, it was going to be my fault. All right, so let's tell it to execute again. Because sure enough, it ran it beforehand. So let's try this again now that it's actually listening. WarFTP reverse shell, 192.168.20.107, port 21. Yes, it was downloaded. HTTP. So we should see this guy blow up when it gets exploited. So started execution, you should be blowing up. Now it changed its IP address to 104. That is not my fault. No, it would be the VM itself that did that. Okay, that I can fix. All right, third time's a charm. Reverse shell 192.168.20.104, port 21. Yes, it was downloaded, and HTTP. It doesn't want to make me sweat today or anything. The problem with writing the tool yourself is it's totally your fault. All right. Come on, pull it down. Don't make me sit up here for that much longer. Yeah, that's a good idea. Drink. There's a shell. All right, so we see WarFTP got blown up, and we got a shell, so now we can connect to listener number 11, and the port is 4444, and it's SMS, and so it should throw Windows prompt momentarily. Well, it threw it here, so it should throw it there. So we saw it come in here, so it should throw it to me. No, it's all going to die on me. All right, so it definitely threw it here. So let me try it one more time. Connect to listener number 11, 4444, SMS. Because now I'm going to have to restart it, and everything's going to be sad. I really wanted this to work on stage. Would you let me try it one more time? I've got 12 more minutes. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right, so let me restart this guy.
It's no longer a demo, it's more like training.
Yeah, we're training on how to do it wrong. All right. We are going to make this happen today. Or else I will retire from InfoSec. How about that? I will retire and I will be a vendor. I will do PCI compliance. Yes. Yeah, I could do HIPAA compliance too. That would be fun. Yeah, I wonder if the phone changed its IP too when the other one did. No, because it called back to it, so. (106), yeah, that's right. Okay, so I'm back to connected, and I'm 106, so I'm right. And just restart my logcat. Do you want to send me something good here? Should automatically start on boot. I don't see it coming through. Where are you? This is what I get, you know. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this amazing thing on stage. Totally.
You are the amazing thing on stage.
Why, thank you.
You can stop kissing ass, people.
Hey, I just want our
Yeah, you're totally still getting sacrificed. There it is. There it is. All right, it's 2691. All right. Okay. So I want to set up that listener again. So 10 listener delivery method HTTP return method SMS port 4444. So tell it to set up that listener. Just gonna restart WarFTP and just don't send WarFTP. Yes, yes, yes. No, it's not already running. It's dead.
No.
God. Is this really happening right now?
Yeah, the process.
And I don't even see it. But it's not already running. Am I going to have to restart this too? I have 8 minutes, so we're going to do a Hail Mary here. gonna work.
That's gonna work.
It has to.
Probably was just an IP conflict. Oh, but now your IPs will change, right?
Yeah, but it won't matter because I
Okay.
type it in. Everybody's leaving. Apparently my stuff is not that interesting.
The video guys are still here.
Yeah. Though I don't necessarily know that watching it work the second time is nearly as exciting as watching it work the first time. Kill the other FTP server. Stop. Alright. Cool. So start war FTP. No, I don't care. Yes, my computer may be at risk. It probably is, in fact. Alright, so it's online now. Alright, so the listener should have started. Yep, it's checking for SMS. Alright, so now I want to execute a command. Command is war FTP reverse shell and 192.168.20.104.21. Downloaded, yes. Delivery method HTTP. Just going to tell it to run that exploit again. And connected. All right. Port 4444. SMS. All right. I'm retired. There! Yes! Yes! And it's running the ipconfig command, and it's going to print out whatever results I get. So it's sending that all over SMS. So that's why the little ... lines are, because it doesn't like blank SMSs for some reason. But, you know, ipconfig is just an example command, but here is its ipconfig information of that Windows box, pulled through the exploited phone, sent to this phone that's controlled by my pen tester, and sent back to the server of SPF. Now tell me that's not cool. It only took me 2 times. All right, and I've got 6 minutes left, so. All right. What?
Who thought NFC was a good idea? Does anybody actually use it?
So the question is, who thought NFC was a good idea, which I don't know the answer to. Charlie Miller, maybe? And does anybody use it? Again, the answer, I guess, is Charlie Miller. A lot of people, I've seen, there's a lot of NFC tags running around, and they're saying that, like, you're going to be able to, like, get text messages, like, when you're at a football game and stuff. I've never seen that actually happen yet. Has anybody, like, gotten a text message when they were in a store or at a game with details about that? That's what people say NFC is going to be for, but I haven't seen it actually happen. But you can also deliver it over SMS as well. You can just send them a text message saying download it, so if NFC goes away, or if iPhone ever supports it, you know, whichever.
There's point of sale that runs NFC right now.
Point of sale runs NFC. So does anybody else have any questions? I have 5 minutes, and I am not going to try to demo anything else after that just worked.
Could you push this via ADB?
Can you push it via ADB? Yes, you can. There is actually code in there to push the one that's controlled by the pen tester via ADB. So if you had physical control of a device, yeah, you could just install it over ADB. There's not like an option right now to do that, but you just have to say ADB install and then the app from the Smartphone Pentest Framework directory. So yeah, you could just sideload it if you had access to their device as well. Other questions?
With your framework, you I saw the thing that said take picture, but can you turn on video camera or mic or anything like that in addition?
So question is, can you turn on video camera or mic? Currently, I don't have that implemented, but that is a possibility, yes. Question right there.
Not a question, but I just want to say that was damn cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I have never been stupid enough to try to demo this live, and it only took twice. But it did work, and it totally worked on the first time in my hotel, so it's definitely a demo gods issue.
You're going to change the key too, since Wynn's probably going to go change his MDM to lock the
Yeah.
No phone, I left it at JFK.
But just because I use Kiki1, you get to choose those values yourself. So ultimately, like when I build the pro version, I want it to like generate legitimate keys, not Kiki1. So it's just, I mean, the keys are only there so if you know that SPF is in your environment, you can't just go and control other people's phones. Only the legitimate pen tester should be able to do so. Any other questions?
So is this framework only for Android, or is it for also for iPhone, for Firefox OS, for Symbian?
So question is it only for Android? Currently, most of the stuff is for Android. There's a little bit for iPhone in there, but I just bought a Windows 8 phone and I got invited to Blue Hat, so chances are I'm going to at least try and do something for Windows 8 before December. And I got the BlackBerry Z10 too, and I've heard that can actually run Android apps, so that might be really easy to do. But the goal is to make it multi-platformed and basically hit every API there is and include every known exploit for any phone ever, and then sell it to people and make them pay license fees. But there will always be a free open source version as well. It just won't be as point and clicky as the pro version. But I'm hoping to make a pro version because, you know, I've written a book, check box. Next thing is become a vendor, right? So, yeah, it will. I just like the Android the best, so that's where I've done most of my work so far. But I'm going to change that. I'm going to confuse people and be like, now we're going to talk about Windows 8.
Why? Nobody else does.
Fair enough, fair enough. So,
Of course they talk about it. They complain about it.
I don't know.
Only if they own one.
Yeah, I may have turned mine on like once now. I haven't had it very long.
Yeah, we got our start menu back.
Yeah. All right, so it looks like I have 49 seconds. So seeing no more questions, thank you all for putting up with me trying to once again prove that I'm the coolest person on the planet by only failing my demo once. So I don't have to be PCI compliant now, so I can go drink. And so again, thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. That was stressful, is what that was.